My name is Xenia Wiest and I'm 36 years old. I was born in Russia, in Moscow, and I'm living in Germany since, over 20 years.
I am Marit Shirin Carolasdotter, and I'm a Swedish Sami choreographer that is living in Umeå in north of Sweden.
My name is Federica Esposito. I'm originally from Sicily, Italy, and I'm 35 years old.
I have a project named Humans and Soil. I work with indigenous issues in research and dance and choreography.
I started very late with classical dance, and my education before was musical. I played piano and concert flute, and I was singing. So I came to the classical ballet was almost 14 years old.
I've been freelancing since the age of 19. I've started here in my hometown in Catania, and then I've been traveling across Europe, and now I'm more into performing, choreographing and teaching and stuff like that. So I'm a bit of everything just now.
It's many things that inspires me to create, and sometimes I create although I don't feel creative. I like to take a subject that I'm interested in, and then I do thorough research on that, and then maybe it results in something creative, or it results in a bit of writing about it. And mostly in my case it has to do with people or things that I observe, or things that has to do with people's relationship to something, and then I want to learn more about it and see what inspires me to take on something that can develop me as a person also. It can be that, or I get some urge to just move and dance. I watch somebody dance, or I see something that is sparks something inside of me that I can't explain how, but then I need to move and I need to dance without any kind of expectations on creating something. I need that to land in my body, and then I can start being creative in a process.
I often start working on the idea of the duality between the possibility of an ideal world and the actual world. The inspiration can come really from anything. Some of the news I hear, or maybe it can be related to legends, myths, and how they can have a relationship between the modern area and what it was before. Because being Sicilian especially, I have a lot of ideas in terms of legends, myths, and inspiration in that sense. Yeah. So how they can be seen in the modern time, let's say, and in what we're experiencing in terms of also pollution and climatic changes and wars and COVID-19, very famous. So this is really a starting point for me, and then I explore all of these ideas and themes. Everywhere I go, I'm very curious about legends and myths and how they can be seen nowadays. So it's something that I take with me.
I never planned that I want to be choreographer. I started to choreograph because I wanted to dance actually, and it was a nice opportunity. For me, it's always the music. I'm having a musical background, so the music is my inspiration. I have on my phone a playlist of inspiration. So whenever a project will come in, I'm oh, it's gonna be a great music piece. I need to use it at some point. Not sure where, when, but it will be used. So, and then another thing is definitely the inspiration of the dancers, because whoever is in front of me, and then we try to find things together. I'm a team player, so I really like to have this exchange.
I am inspired by many people, their abilities in different ways. There's one person that is really close to me that is kind of a role model, because his main goal every day is to learn something new about himself or about somebody somebody else's work. But the aim is like every day pick something, watch something, read something that makes you learn. And I have a tendency to feel demotivated many times and kind of not going out there to see like, okay, but this is a possibility. Just learning something every day, it shouldn't be that difficult, right? So just he's kind of a role model in this sense that there's always something that could be done like every day. I think role models, they are everywhere around us, and we just, if it's your mother or like an artist or something, it doesn't really matter, but it's like it's the stories that you want to feel and that you also want to extract things from. Yeah,
I don't have a very specific role model. Let's say that, of course, I get inspired by big names such as Sasha Waltz or Fouad Naharin or Vertigo Dance Company or Akram Khan. And in terms of Crystal Fight, the reason for that is because they have something really strong in their language, or anyway, they want to express something specific, but still, let's say, aerial in a way, like abstract. Yeah. So, for example, Sasha Waltz, maybe she wants to talk about like a love story from, a legend as well, but in a way that is still like mysterious and ethereal. It's something that I like, this way of having something to say, but without being so specific. So people can still see something else behind what you exactly want to say.
I have people which are not dancers and which are not choreographers that inspires me a lot, or from who I'm always surprised in a good way that I still can learn something. Definitely my husband in some points is definitely one inspiration for me. He's also a psychologist, so he helps me a lot with the development of some concepts and dramaturgy, because I have my dancer point of view, and sometimes you get stuck maybe just in the aesthetics or what it's cool, and I really stop to do things just because it's cool. If it makes sense and it's cool, great. If it's just cool, out. So, and he helps me a lot. And beside this, as from choreographers, I mean, I definitely am inspired by Marco, for sure. He's still surprising me in every work that he does. And I obviously the classics, which is William Forsythe and Kilian and Nacho Duato, who was also my director. Beside this, I don't think I try not to. I try to construct myself. It's not really easy nowadays, I think, because we have been influenced by so many other things. But I try to follow my inner authentic side, or something, if you can say.
Wow, that's a big question. Suddenly my mind goes maybe to some artists who died already, like, like painters or stuff. That's a tricky one. Something that could be really, 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 exciting could be working with some artists like, I don't know, Picasso or stuff like that, because it's so surreal in a way, and I do like this sort of like reality against the real stuff. So imagine that, like, and being quick, like, this is something that comes into my mind.
There's amazing Sami artists actually here in Sweden that I would love to work with, because we rarely talk about the music and the dance coming together, and that it has, been silenced for hundreds of years. So like Marie Boine with her music would be like a dream to work with, for example. So I see like many possibilities there to create videos and to spread information to people in this sense.
I would like to meet Marina Abramovic, actually, if it's possible at some point, because I have to say, before, like let's say 5 years ago, I was just thinking, what the is that? I didn't connect with that. I didn't like it. It was everything but what I would like and accept. And then somehow the last 2 years, I don't know, maybe something changed, and I read her books, and I started like to invest a little bit more. And she's definitely also very inspiring. So I would love to exchange some ideas with her, and to dive in her world. I really wanted to meet Maya Plisetskaya at some point. It will never happen. But this was somehow another person who I was very tempted to meet.
I appreciate your question. I feel like grateful for you to have this as a theme to bring up. I think I have. I think what is even more difficult in the professional field now in dance is to be a woman that is trying to claim space and kind of succeeding on claiming that space, because then you need to, like, it's the fight is not over. There's always something that you have to reclaim, like or to be even if you know you have more rights in the professional field, you feel comfortable, then you need to start defending that also. I think that is really difficult. So we have the Me Too movement, for example. I mean, it's never ending, it's never stopping, of course, but there is a problem even there to be like claiming your womanhood in dance, because then you get critiqued for that, or you get critiqued for not doing it. So I'm more interested in having the choice of, like, I choose to fight now, or I choose to go to environments and platforms where I know what I can expect, and I know I can extract something good out of it. And that has to be a choice for me as well, to avoid certain situations where gender becomes the main theme of my work somehow. My work is very much focused on, like, the human, the indigenous human. So things are connected, of course, somehow to the empowerment of people, and that has to do with femininity or feminine, masculine, like contradictions all the time. But no, I choose platforms that I feel are safe and that I feel are kind and understanding, and that's it. I don't choose to go into a field where I feel like this patriarchal system is crazy. Like, then I have to choose to go there and fight, and it's not always that I feel like doing that. Somehow.
I faced many times that I mean, most of the times, maybe now it's a little bit better, but people maybe underestimate women, or like in my case, definitely, because I don't know, maybe I look like a ballerina and I look very naive, or I don't know, but sometimes people try to take advantage out of this. And I think maybe if you're maybe a man, like a guy, when you negotiate things, or if you have a conflict, obviously guys just have more testo, you know, and they're just much more aggressive, and they can nail the things like, okay, this is the limit, and nothing else. If I speak just for myself, it was a way to get used to have conflicts, you know, and to also say, this I don't want, and this I want, and this I accept, and this not. You know, I think, and also in our profession or our world, it's also a lot about context and how you approach the people. Somehow makes the way easier for the other side to take decisions, because people don't like to research things or look for talent, people, work. They take most of the times the most easy, or the one they know.
Yeah.
And maybe the only thing which I would say is it would be nice if people, instead of just thinking about the status of a choreographer, a dancer, an artist, that they actually take the time and they look the whole work. I guess my answer would be like, not really. I feel a huge difference, but sometimes you have to prove and you have to be stronger in the world when they are most, let's say, maybe led by the men choreographers.
I have to say yes, because many times we hear of male choreographers, male teachers, and anyway, like male a bit of everything, and it's normal. It's good because we are male and female, so it's normal. But I think that sometimes like people can still think about the male figure as the master in a way, like the guru. So they have this sort of like figure. Now it's a bit less, but still I think that sometimes it is something that we as female artists we do experience a bit. And in terms of female and male, I'm becoming a mother in less than 2 months, and this is something that, you know, in a way I fear that sometimes it can be seen as a complication. It is something that really upsets me, because like it should be so something that is so natural, and this is part of our way of being, and it's not something that we have to be blamed for. It's part of life, becoming like a parent, if you want to, or otherwise not. But I have the feeling that it shouldn't be seen as something, you know, that is a complication or an obstacle. As a female artist, you know, that's a bit of my fear and my feeling. I hope that, you know, I'm wrong.
I think what needs to be done is to focus maybe a bit less on the individual only, and more about like a collective kind of right also. I don't want to have to fight alone, you know. That's not my purpose in life. Like it's about, like we're talking about all the time, it's about collaboration and discussion and things like that. And I feel like there's so much focus on reaching to a consent, so each individual needs to consent for it to be one instead of like we actually need to feel and to sense this system, like how it can be more of a solidaric system. So I think it's a problem that is quite like individual liberal based somehow, that can annoy me sometimes. But after a while you need to stop fighting, like I'm talking about for me many different aspects of my life, and just observe things and see like what can I do, like not focus so much on this is not possible, this I cannot do it. Okay, what can I do according to this situation? Like we also need to adapt all the time as artists, and sometimes it's very tiring, but sometimes it's just a way to move forward, I think.
I do feel that, of course, like apart from the male and female problem, but in terms of also of age, it should be a bit fairer, let's say. I think that every time like an application or open call is on, maybe like they could think about parameters that are good a bit that are equal for everyone. That's what I think. We have a lot of open calls asked for under 35 people or artists. And I think this is something that is not exactly good right now. It doesn't have to be everything under 35. Yeah. It should be like artists in general. I feel that, you know, a lot of people are suffering from that because there are so many opportunities they cannot take.
I really discovered during the Corona times now, being working a lot alone, that outside input is super important. I think the perfect conditions would be an engagement from outside, like from a community, or if you seek support as an artist to have a space to create and certain conditions that you demand, but also like you want someone or some people to engage in your idea and your work, so you need to have the right circumstances for that. In northern Sweden, where I live, there are great support from the community and from the institutions, but you also need some kind of collaborative way of getting people to see more art and to be there and to continue engaging. So I think just support from community would be like the perfect conditions for me, absolutely. And then I'm not so concerned about what kind of space I'm in, because that is the being the adaptable part.
That's a difficult question. I think if you look long time ago, people were dancing around fire to the rhythm. So there was always something that people wanted to feel or express themselves anyhow. So as for that, this will also stay, and it will stay from the people who really are genuine and love it. In the human history, like, people needed to gather and be together. I think people will really try to make the best out of it, or stay creative, or like find new ways to promote the dance through different platforms like social media. Obviously you cannot compare it with a live performance. For me it will depend in general where the politician will put the focus on. Theatrical landscapes, let's say, people will try always to find ways. It's not gonna die. Music is something, and dance, which is so ancient, let's say, that it always will connect people. The other thing is how long we can deal with the situation.
I see a lot of critique coming from freelancers now, like that are not a part of institutions or like firm contracts. That they get deprioritized, and the theater institutions get the money and get the crisis funding and everything like that. I think that will be a problem, of course, when it comes to supporting oneself. But I also think that people have a need to go back to what was, like creation-wise, like the freedom still that was there. But I also think it will change in terms of like what can be done online. How can you still have this feeling of community while you're not physically together? But I feel like the majority of people will want to be physically with each other in a space, and I hope that this sense of solidarity will maybe grow, and that it can also change politically, like how we relate to each other. So more sense of we want to do this together. That's what I'm hoping. It's scary not to know what's going to happen, of course.
The future of the theater, I would say that, of course, like, we need to rethink a bit about the idea itself of theater, like maybe using even more open spaces, but actually organizing like performances which are like actual, and settled performances. So not just like happenings, which are beautiful, don't get me wrong, but like in terms of how can we create a theater performance even on the outside.
Yeah.
So we avoid certain things, and maybe like even in terms of lighting and electricity, maybe this can be something that we save money and energy. And the theater itself, I think that it's a good opportunity to actually relaunch this sector, and saying that like, you've been missing so much, seeing people and experiences and stuff and shared moments, that it's a moment in which maybe we should like really concentrate, as artists we should be really concentrating on how to attract people to the theater. Maybe like, I don't know, children performances, or maybe like specific target performances, like, I don't know, for teenagers, or maybe about certain issues, or about music, or about like in terms of like what can we create to really attract more people right now and create a stronger community in that sense, and not just like dance people who go to see dance performances.